Hey, this is episode 4 of the first volume Warrior, and in this episode I'll be talking about a very popular series, Chainsaw Man. I have a reading Chainsaw Man in a week video that just came out, so if you want to check that out, please be sure to check the first link down in the description below. And I see no use in stalling anymore, so let's just get right into reviewing Chainsaw Man's first volume. Now, I'll start by naming what exactly happens in this volume and what I thought about each thing. First is the opening sequence, aka Denji versus Tomato Devil fight, which we don't see, but we only see right before the fight and the aftermath. So there's not exactly a lot to have an opinion about. I suppose this introduces the world of Chainsaw Man to the readers, as with just these 2 pages, we already learned that Denji is the main character, Denji is something called the Devil Hunter, and there are also something called Devils. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. In the same chapter, there's the Denji and Pochita backstory, which pretty much we see how Denji and Pochita started working together to survive. Next is the zombie devil fight, where Denji dies, but Pochita saves him by merging with him, by making a contract with Denji, and so Denji becomes Chainsaw Man and kills the zombie devil alongside all the zombies that were there. And right after that arrives Makima, and Denji becomes her dog pretty much. Oh my god, I really just fucking said that. I seriously just said that. Next is the muscle devil fight, which I had just completely forgotten, and the fight itself was just fine, I guess. I understand why I didn't remember this fight until I reread the entire series in a week, link in description. But after that is the, I'd say popular, but for the wrong reasons scene. It is the Makima feeding Denji scene. No comments. Now it's the 3rd chapter, and the probably best character in part 1 of Chainsaw Man shows up, Aki. Now, the reason he's my favorite character in the series is because he grows on you as a character with time. You get to see his personality and see how he deals with Denji and power and how he started to recognize them as family with time. But this isn't the time for that. The first real thing Aki does is beat Denji up and tell him to quit. But then he gets his balls destroyed by Denji. So I will not comment on this subject anymore, and I will move on to the next thing, which is Denji and Aki versus this fiend. Yes, that's actually the official name of it. I tried to find its name, but it was never mentioned. All it was called was a fiend, but if I had to guess, it's probably the crab fiend. Anyways, Denji declares that he wants to be friends with both humans and devils, and that pisses off Aki. And right after Aki leaves, Denji says, I want to touch some boobs. And at the end of the 4th chapter, the other best character gets introduced, Power. Denji was going to object, but as soon as he saw some tits, he instantly became welcoming. Then Denji and Power go on a scouting mission together, and out of nowhere, Power just runs off and kills some devil and makes a huge mess and shouts about, the glory is all mine. But when Makima confronts her, then she blames Denji. Now, I had mixed feelings about that scene, as Power's just blaming my boy Denji. What the fuck, man? But on the other hand, it's kind of funny. And towards the end of the chapter, Denji and Power are hanging around some vending machines, and Power mentions that her cat got kidnapped and that she was really upset about it. And Denji sorta makes fun of her for it, but mentions that if it were a dog, then it would be different. But ultimately, all he wants to do is touch some fucking boobs. Power mentions that if he helps get back the cat, then she will let him touch her tits. And instantly, Denji is on Power's side and is mad at the devil. Next, Makima has some meeting, but nothing really happens there, so moving on to Power and Denji going to the house where Meowie is supposed to be. But Power accidentally slips up, and Denji ain't stupid. I mean, forget what I just said. But Power wins and drags him to the house, where the Bat Devil is. And after that, the Bat Devil drinks all the blood from Denji and says how disgusting he is. And instead of giving back Meowie like how it was agreed, he eats Meowie, and we get a Power backstory of how she killed everything in sight. But she didn't kill Meowie, thinking to herself that she will feed Meowie until she is plump. But when it was time to kill her, she couldn't, so Meowie kept living with Power. Then the Bat Devil proceeds to eat Power. Pause. But Denji tells the Bat Devil, give me back my boobs! And turns into Chainsaw Man to fight the Bat Devil. So that's all the events in Chainsaw Man Volume 1 explained quickly. Now I will say what I think was good and bad about this volume. Starting with the good, I think the art style is quite nice. I'm not sure if this is going to make sense, but the art style is both refined and unrefined at the same time. Here's an example. When everything is going fine, / when Denji is in human form, then everything is polished. But when Denji turns into Chainsaw Man, everything goes batshit crazy. I also like how Tatsuki Fujimoto doesn't hold anything back when writing Chainsaw Man. Like, he doesn't worry about censorship, he writes exactly how he wants to. Which was quite a shock, knowing that part 1 of Chainsaw Man was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump, where the target demographic is kids or teens. So I imagine parents could be quite concerned with what their kids are consuming if they see that they are reading Chainsaw Man and see what is Chainsaw Man about. So that's why most of the series in Weekly Shonen Jump are censored, aka aka they aren't allowed to have much gore. So for one, it appeals to more people, and two, so there are parents that don't stop their children to read their magazine. The next thing I want to mention is that for the first volume, the amount of content is really amazing, as there are 4 arcs already in just the first volume. While if this pacing for the entire series keeps up, I don't think it would be that good, but for a first volume, this is great! Alright, that's it for the main good things, but I will go more in depth in my next video where I will be talking about all of Chainsaw Man as a whole. So if you want to hear me talk more about Chainsaw Man, subscribe and turn on notifications to be the first to watch the Chainsaw Man video when it releases. Anyways, moving on to the bad of Chainsaw Man Volume 1. Surprisingly, there basically isn't anything to talk about. I suppose if you're only talking about the first volume, which I am, you could say that Power is a really easily hateable character. Although fun, I think at the start she isn't that good of a character. But as I know she gets way better with time, aka being between my 2 favorite characters in the entire series alongside Aki, I won't really go into this any further. So that's all I have to talk about the first volume of Chainsaw Man. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, as this was the 4th episode of the first volume Warrior, and in the next episode of the first volume Warrior, I'll be talking about a work from Tatsuya Endo, aka the author of Spy X Family, Tista, and this work, which is Blade of the Moon Princess. But in the next video, I will be talking about Chainsaw Man again. But if you watched this far, I know you like Chainsaw Man a lot. So you can go watch my Reading Chainsaw Man in a Week video, which was surprisingly harder than I thought, but I did it nonetheless. Link is in the description down below. Anyways, once again, if you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya!